abolitionists refused to look away. Women's suffragettes refused to look away. Civil rights workers refused to look away. Sometimes I hear people these days talk about how traumatizing everything is. I've heard people say, since Trump's been president, I'm just traumatized by the whole thing. Well, I'm not minimizing the effects of trauma, but I think it is worth noting that the people who walked across the bridge in Selma would have been traumatized. They didn't know that they were going to send the dogs. They didn't know if they were going to send the hoses, ladies and gentlemen. They didn't know if they were going to start shooting. And yet they walked. You know, we are the inheritors of a great legacy in this country. Yes, we have a legacy of, like I said, some violent perpetration of transgression against our own principles. We've had slavery in this country. We have had the genocide of Native Americans, cultural annihilation. We've had terrible things, terrible problems in this country, and we have terrible problems today. But let us identify with the problem solvers. But if we're going to do that, it's time for us to do more than just post a petition on Facebook. And I have felt for a long time when it comes particularly to New Thought, religion and spirituality. I've been so grateful to Reverend Cheryl, to Reverend Ed, to so many of my colleagues, people I know now, particularly in the New Thought movement. There's an awakening now. There's an awakening now, and we must continue it because people who have a clue as to what changes one heart, you're the one who has a clue as to what would change the world. The people who do spiritual seeking, who take love seriously, the visionaries, the lovers, the artists, the teachers, the scientists, the educators, the healers, these are the last people who should be standing on the sidelines. These are the last people who should be standing on the periphery. These should be the biggest grown-ups in the room. I don't need to tell anybody here, hatred has become politicized. Today, in Germany, on Yom Kippur, a Nazi or Nazi sympathizer, obviously, started shooting Jews in Germany. Well, we had a Nazi sympathizer, a white supremacist who shot a Jewish woman at a synagogue in Florida recently. And I don't need to tell anyone in Charleston. I don't need to tell anyone in Charleston. So hatred has been in our past, turned into political expression, and unfortunately, in the present, we have a specter of white nationalism, Nazism, some very, very serious forces that have unfortunately not been totally and completely banned from our midst, and even now, partly because of social media, partly because of certain dog whistles that have been sent out from very high places, that political expression is forming force again. Ladies and gentlemen, at a time when hatred is so loud, it is not enough for love to whisper.